everybody. All right, it is that time indeed for another edition of Marilyn's Cafe Society Radio right here on the YouTube channel. Well, how are you doing on this Saturday? It's the 16th of January 2021. Can you believe it already? We are in the middle of the month, of the first month of this year. Happy Saturday, everybody. Well, you know, I woke up to some snow. I guess in the Chicagoland area we all did. It's not a lot, you know, nothing to sneeze at, you know, but it just kind of stirs up that feeling of winter. It feels like winter. So, of course, I have my coffee here and been running a little behind schedule today, getting this show up and running. I, again, woke up to the snow and helped my guy take care of the driveway and the sidewalks and everything, and then of course had to get myself together for the show. I ran out for a bit, as I always do, and so we're just a little bit delayed, but not that much. All right, well, happy King weekend. Yes, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday was officially yesterday, January the 15th. 92, I believe, 92 years old he would have been. And, you know, of course, we call this the King Weekend. So we try to celebrate and remember his legacy all weekend long. Of course, it's going to cap off on Monday with various events and, you know, observances and things of that nature. You know, with the pandemic going on, and here in Illinois, I believe we're in phase 3 currently, so a lot of the venues that would normally host the different celebrations and breakfasts, the King breakfasts and things of that nature, are closed, and so a lot of these programming events will be online. So, you know, if you have some time this Monday, make sure you tune in online. I'm sure if you just Google, you'll find all kinds of events streaming live online honoring Dr. King on his birthday. And you know, it's more than just about the holiday on Monday and obviously this weekend. It's something that we should be doing throughout the year, right? Kind of honoring and remembering that legacy that he created, and that we should obviously keep going. All right, and it's a good legacy. All right, and so of course King Day on Monday takes us right into the upcoming historic Inauguration Day. And of course I say historic because Kamala Harris will become the first woman, the first Black, and the first Asian to be inaugurated, to be installed as Vice President. And so it's a lot to celebrate in the African American and Asian and female communities, right? And of course, President-elect Joe Biden will also officially be installed and officially named President of the United States coming Wednesday. That's the 20th of January. And that brings me to our stimulus talks. Of course, Biden recently unveiled his economic plan earlier this week, and it's a nearly $2 trillion bill, and it includes his promised third emergency pandemic relief check that some Americans will be receiving, you know, as your income goes up. The amount of the check decreases. I believe that number for a single individual is $75,000 a year. If you make $75,000 or less a year, you can expect a $1,400 check. Now, I know a lot of people are kind of griping about that because he did announce right before that important Georgia election last week that he was promising a $2,000 check. But we're hearing now that what he meant was the $600 check that most received in the last week or so was part of that $2,000 that he's promising. And so most of us will get about $1,400. And I believe couples are safe until they surpass the $150,000 annual income, and then the amount of the check will decrease. And then there's bonuses for children as well. You'll receive a bonus check for children. Now, also in this plan and emergency pandemic relief, he announced that the unemployed will receive an additional $400 per week in federal benefits that will run through September of this year. Now, that amount, from what I'm understanding, will not kick in until after the $300 per week federal relief that most are currently receiving now will expire by mid-March. And so after that expires, then this new $400 per week federal benefit will, keep you going if you haven't found employment by then through September. And speaking of the unemployed, the United States Labor Department recently reported that, 965,000 Americans filed for unemployment benefits for the first time in this past week. Can you believe that? Now, last week we reported that the numbers were looking better, right? But what happened? How did we get to this 965,000 Americans losing employment in a week? How did that happen? Here's my theory. I believe that this is somewhat backlash from the election results, from all the politicking and unrest that we've been experiencing. There's always a backlash. And so it'd be interesting to get the demographics of these people who filed last week. But that's a high number. 965,000 more Americans filed for unemployment benefits for the first time in the past week. All right, let's get back to the Biden relief bill and his economic plan. $35 billion is reportedly going to be allocated for low-interest loans. And again, this has to do with businesses, keeping those small businesses going. And of course, $15 billion in grants for small businesses. These are grants, as you know, is money that does not have to be paid back. Now, these grants will specifically be targeting small businesses that are owned by women and minorities. So good for them for doing that. $400 billion will go towards the fight against COVID-19, and $350 billion is reportedly going to go to struggling state and local governments. This was a big fight with the Republicans last year for months, but Biden has included it in his plan. Now, also, the bill will provide additional rental assistance. It's extending the eviction and foreclosure moratoriums through September. And of course, child tax credits are being expanded, and food assistance programs are also being expanded. Now, again, the hope is that the Democrats will be able to push this through the House and the Senate now that they have a slim majority lead. There's talks that, it may not happen because the Republicans were so resistant towards a lot of this, a lot of where the dollars are going in Biden's new plan. But because it's somewhat of a new day, and I think what has happened in the last week or two, particularly in DC, has probably been an awakening for a lot of people. So this one may just get pushed through. We'll be watching and waiting to see what happens. And again, as I said last week, the inauguration is Wednesday, the 20th. By the end of next week, certainly they should have the bill passed and signed, and give them another week or two, and perhaps you can anticipate receiving that stimulus check by late this month, and certainly by the first month or so in February, week I should say, week or so in February. All right. So let's real quickly just kind of go over the latest and what's happening with coronavirus and everything. There's about 94 million COVID-19 cases globally as of this morning. More than 2 million deaths. But again, the good news is roughly 67 million individuals have recovered from this ugly virus. And of course, you know, there's talk about several different new strains that have been discovered or uncovered. But apparently this vaccine, that's the two vaccines that are being used, will help fight against those as well. Now, the United States has more than 23 million confirmed COVID-19 cases. And of course, the big news that's been in the headlines since last night is that sadly, we've hit more than 400,000 deaths due to COVID-19 here in this country. And about 14 million, thank goodness, have recovered. So we'll just keep our eye on that. There's a lot happening, as you've been hearing probably, about, you know, the vaccinations and some things that were supposed to take place that didn't take place. I just don't want to spend a lot of time talking about that on this day, so we're just going to push forward and jump into our business news. Of course, Google recently closed on a $2.1 billion acquisition of, drumroll please, Fitbit. Yes. You know Fitbit, the little gadgets that you wear like a watch, and monitors your heart rate and your pulse, and, you know, gives you a lot of health information. The Fitbit company, Google now owns it. Yeah, they got it for $2.1 billion. And of course, according to the United States Commerce Department, retail sales declined 0.7% in December. Doesn't sound that bad, right? But many in the retail business industry is a bit disappointed with December results. Speaking of retail, Target's comparable sales jumped about 17% over last year during the holiday period. So Target did very well. You know, again, some of these stores are doing well because they're, depending on the region that they're in, what state they're in. For example, here in Illinois, we are in phase 3, which means there's limitations on how, you know, what businesses can be open, how long they can be open, how many people they can allow in at a time, and all of that. So stores like Targets and Walmart and others are considered essentials, so there's no limitations on them. And so obviously they would be doing much better, right, than others. In other business news, Nike is suing more than 1,000 websites and social media profiles for selling counterfeits. Now, we know that the luxury brands have been struggling with this for years, right, with the knockoffs and all of that. But Nike knockoffs, my goodness. So be careful out there, everybody, if you're purchasing Nike product, you know, or what seems to be Nike product. Be careful, because there's more than 1,000 websites and social media platforms out there selling quote unquote Nike, but it really isn't Nike. So be careful. And speaking of Nike, it reminds me of sports. And of course, one of my favorite sports is the NBA. And everybody's been talking about this big news. It is business too. It's sports, but it's business. And that is the fact that NBA superstar James Harden has been traded from the Houston Rockets to the Brooklyn Nets, where he'll team up with KD, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving. Isn't that something? Now, you know, I haven't been following basketball during this pandemic time like I normally do. So I don't know a lot. I don't know the latest, but I have been hearing that James Harden has been expressing his unhappiness with being in Houston for a while now, and I guess he wanted to land in New York, and so there he is with Brooklyn Nets. There's a lot of business behind the scene that's going on too. So anyway, he's there. I don't know. Does this sound like a dream team to you with KD, Kyrie Irving, now James Harden? We shall see. So it seems like New York is ready for another winning NBA team, right? We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Man, I'll just be glad when things, everyone keeps saying when things get back to normal. And then, of course, we're hearing that things will never be normal again. But it's going to be exciting to see them playing in the arenas with the crowds and all of that again, right? Yeah, I can't wait. All right, and so that's it for business. We'll take a quick look at the stock market report as of the close of business on Friday. It was not a good day. The Dow was down 177.26 points to 30,814.26. The S&P 500 was down 27.29 points to 3,768.25. The NASDAQ was down as well, 114.14 points to 12,998.50. Again, not a good day for the stock market on yesterday, but listen to this. I read that the banking giants are faring pretty well despite the record number of consumer, auto, and mortgage loan defaults, deferments, and forbearances that happened last year during COVID, and I guess it's carrying on into this year. Now, I believe some of them benefited from government assistance, but it appears that the recent home buying boom also gave them a big boost, and so that's why most of them, for the most part, are doing well. Taking a look at commodities, gold is down $21.50 to $1,829.90 per ounce. Oil has dipped. They're down $1.29 to $52.36 per barrel. And that concludes our business report, everybody. You ready for some entertainment news? Well, this is one of my favorite shows, and I'm so happy to announce, and this announcement comes like right before their season 5 premiere, which I believe is set for next month in February. Yes, I'm talking about Queen Sugar. Yeah, OWN TV has announced that Queen Sugar's contract has been renewed for another season. So you'll get another year. This season that's going to be premiering next month is season 5. And then we'll get another season 6 of Queen Sugar. Now, the show's season 5 production was paused, like many other television shows, right, last year due to coronavirus and the pandemic. Now, of course, I'm hearing that, after this pandemic hit, and because she's such a creative soul, right, Ava DuVernay decided to completely revamp the season 5 storyline to address the real issues that were going on in this country during the pandemic. Of course, they're going to be addressing the pandemic in this season's show, and it's all going to be through the lens of the Bordelon family, that main family that the show centers around, and the community of St. Josephine. Now, not only are they tackling the pandemic, they're going to be dealing with Black Lives Matter and the protest movement that we saw sweep across the country. It's going to deal with corruption and politics and the immediate impact and ramifications that it has. on communities and people of color. It's also going to take a deep dive into important topics like police brutality, addiction and recovery, systemic racism, and many other social concerns and issues. Now, season 5 of Queen Sugar will premiere on February 16th at 8 p.m. Eastern, and that will be 7 Central, of course, on OWN TV. So, of course, you want to check your local listings to find out what channel that actually will be in your area. Now, Kanye West. We all know that he has been in the news for months now for various reasons, like running for president. And of course, the latest news on him was the potential divorce, those divorce rumors that may be happening with his union with Kim Kardashian, the couple known as Kim Ye. Now, I don't know how true those rumors are, but I just say this, Kanye, Kim Ye, stay together. Work it out. Stay together, all right? Keep that family intact. All right, now, back to this latest news. In fact, I just read this morning. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Kanye West's Yeezy empire has sued a former summer intern for violating his non-disclosure agreement. I know. When I think about an intern, I think about a young 20-something running around, trying to learn the business, just, being happy that they landed an intern with such an iconic brand, right? Well, and, obviously the question popped in my head, and I'm sure you're wondering, well, what did this intern do? Why is he being sued? Well, according to a Hollywood Reporter, the lawsuit is saying that the intern shared unauthorized confidential photos via his Instagram account. So, again, was he just a bit overzealous and was just so happy to be there and to have access to, the brand that he was showing off for his friends? And by the way, how much is the lawsuit for? Listen to this. This particular lawsuit against an intern, a young person in my head, is $500,000 plus punitive damages, everyone. Now, why so much, you ask? Because the company found out, Yeezy discovered that this young person had malicious intent. So did he expose future pictures of future designs of the Yeezy product? That's what it sounds like to me, that he showed pictures that weren't meant to be released yet. And he did it maliciously, according to the company. Now, they're also requesting an injunction to prevent the defendant from sharing similar posts in the future. And they also want him to release any photos that he may still have in his possession. So we'll watch this and see how things continue to develop. I can imagine a 20-something having $500,000, right? I can't imagine that, but we'll watch and see what happens. And it's just a lesson to young people. Don't go into anyone's business with malicious intent, because these companies are serious now, especially, brands like the Yeezys and the Nike brand. They're serious and they're going after people. All right. So let's go ahead and jump to my last entertainment story, which is about the Chicago Music Awards show. The Chicago Music Awards show, which of course is a show that honors and pays homage to talent that comes out of Chicago, individuals who were born in Chicago or those who just live in the Chicagoland region. Well, they're back, and I say back because the pandemic forced last year's event to be canceled, and so they're coming back to combine last year's event with this year's event, and the voting will begin next Tuesday, January 19th, right after the press conference announcing the nominees. And you know, Chicago has some great talent. Chicago was the music hub, has been the music hub for decades now. And so I'm excited to find out who some of those nominees are. Again, the press conference will happen Tuesday evening, Tuesday, January 19th. And right after that, right after they wrap up with the press conference, voting begins. And to cast your vote in the various categories, you can go to www.chicagomusicawards.com. And the actual show will broadcast on Sunday, February 28th, 2021, 6 p.m. Okay, we'll talk a little bit more about it as we move closer to the date. And that concludes our entertainment report, everybody. Now, before I go, I just want to remind you all. Oh, by the way, how are you doing? Did you check out the blog last week? Just, again, encouraging you to pick yourself up if you fell off the wagon, so to speak, in 2020. Just pick yourself up and keep going as you press towards whatever goal you're working to hit. In this new year and this new season, right? And so, I'm just like I said, I have a fresh sense of energy, for this year. And so I'm so far so good with my eating habits and my exercising and of course, continuing to move towards all that I'm attempting to accomplish this year with business and career and relationships and all of that. And so we're just going to keep each other encouraged throughout the year to make sure that we stay on track, right? So obviously you can share, and I'll share my social media and website in a bit. You can share your stories about how you're doing. And thanks so much, too, for the love on the WordPress blog that I'm receiving. I appreciate you guys. So before I go, I do want to remind you to please support the efforts of the Black Heroes Matter organization. Again, they're working to just make sure that Jean Baptiste Point du Sable, who founded the city of Chicago, and who happens to be a Black man from the Caribbean country of Haiti. They want to make sure that he is honored properly. And so the goal is to have a monument placed in the center of the downtown area in Chicago, to have a major street like Lake Shore Drive renamed after him, and of course to institute a city holiday. And so to support that effort by signing the petition, and if you want to make a donation, you can go to blackheroesmatter.com for that. And we just want to remind you once again, for this month in January, we're going to focus and continue to practice faith, again, as we strive to hit those personal and professional and even spiritual and relational goals that you have set for yourself in the year of 2021. Faith, practice faith every day. Also, remember we have a new word for the month of January, and that word is janissary. Janissary. And again, it means a devoted follower or supporter. That's the modern day definition of it. So again, I thank you for becoming a janissary of my show and my blog, and just make sure that we kind of practice using that word this week as well. So I just want to say happy King weekend, and of course have a wonderful Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day on Monday. Again, you can go online, Facebook, probably YouTube. Some of the civic and human rights organizations will be streaming their events virtually. So, just make sure you support and donate where you can to help in the efforts of keeping the legacy of Dr. King alive. And remember, Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris will take office after Inauguration Day on January 20th. Ladies, remember to wear your pearls. I'm a little thirsty. I got mine on already, but as you're sitting at home watching the inauguration ceremony, of course, you've seen the social media blowing up, asking women to wear their pearls. And one site said to wear your pearls and your Chucks. I don't have Chucks. I may have some Converse All-Stars. Those were the deal when we were coming up. Anyway, pearls for sure. And if you have your Chucks or even some Converse low-top All-Stars, wear them as well, all right? All right, well, I'm excited. I hope you're excited. We're going to stay positive and just pray that this year is going to be much better than it was last year. A quick reminder to businesses, services, brands, products, if you have books, whatever it is, if you want to just get some additional exposure for what you're doing, send us an email, producer@Maryland'sCafeSociety.com. And we'll get more information to you. And remember to go to the website, Maryland'sCafeSociety.com. There you can get connected to all of my social media platforms. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, friend, and all of that. All right? All right, let's take a look at what love is this week. Someone said they thought it was so cute. Love is last week. Do I still have that? I think I do. Hold on a second. Yeah, love is last week. It said when it's just the two of you, and rather than the man and the woman, it was the woman with the little one. And that's for the single mommies out there. I was a single mom for a while in my life, and it is like that. It is just the two of you, and of course, if you're lucky, you have a community of support to help you. And them angels are always encamped around and about the single mother, so stay encouraged. All right, so love is for today. It is, what is this? Bottling it up. Bottling it up. Love is bottling it up. I guess bottling up the love. Bottling up the love, everybody. All right. Well, remember, if you don't do anything else this week, be sure that you live, you laugh, and you love. As always, it's a pleasure and a privilege. We'll talk again during the blog in the middle of next week. Hey, I may even jump online. During or shortly after the inauguration and do a vlog as opposed to a blog. We'll see. But anyway, have a great week, everybody. Peace. We'll talk again.